See, we've all grown up telling our kids that sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never. True or false? But that's what we were taught. And now we've tried to pass that same information on. Our kids are going to school every day, and not only are they getting some of that, but they feel worse because they let it affect them. Because they've been told that those words can't hurt you. But the truth is, they can. And you know what? The more and more I talk to students, the more and more we realize how brutal some of these students are and some of the things that they say. People ask me all the time, is it really that bad? They ask me all the time, how is it different than when we were kids? And I think many of us have that image of what happened to us or what some people said, but they just don't really fully understand. But today, bullying is, yes, physical, but it's also verbal, and it's also experienced quite a bit in our social world, in the cyber world. And so I want us to think about today how that transition has happened, and more importantly, what's at stake today. The repercussions every time you turn on the TV is completely different than what most of us remember bullying like back in our day. So what is the real impact of bullying? I mean, what's the damage? What's it really doing? 91% of students say that bullying has a negative effect on their self-esteem, and 83% admit that it affects their emotional well-being. We're parents or grandparents in this room tonight. What happens when kids' emotional well-being is affected? What happens when their self-esteem is attacked to the point that they don't feel good about themselves? Then what? If there's anything else that I can get across to you to parents tonight, if you only remember one thing, remember this. Part of our job as parents is to make sure our kids know that they're good enough. To make sure they know that they have value, they have worth, that they have a whole stack of things on this side right here. That's part of our job. And when they know this, that's how you bully-proof your child. I believe that as parents, and I'm a parent, I have a 10-year-old daughter, I know that I have the same role that everybody else here that has. And that is this. We teach our kids how to treat other kids. We, as parents, teach our kids how to treat other kids. But I can't tell you how many times I know it, just hearing it from kids right now, they didn't think of that. They didn't come up with that. That came straight from the dinner table at home. And so my challenge to you tonight is to rethink how you talk about some of those things. And just think of it this way. When it happens to your little boy or your little girl, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, one of those students that you know that you've been around, see, now the pain is different. And that's what I got to try to get across to educators, even parents, that if it hasn't happened to your child, it doesn't mean it's not an issue. It just hasn't been an issue at your school or for your kid yet. But you want to know what the truth is? I did about 230 schools last year. And most of these schools, I gave them a disc that had all this stuff printed on it, and it was cellophane wrapped. If I was a betting man, which unfortunately I am, and I don't win very often, but I bet about 70% of those students or schools that if I visited to this day, it's still in that same paper, still wrapped up, never been opened. Now the day I left that school, the kids were excited, they were motivated, they believed that they could step up and step in. They believed that they could change the school. But if you don't implement, you don't carry it out, it's nothing. It's not just enough to have the policy. Because earlier I told you one of the steps is that you got to have the procedures. So if it happens, what do? Who do I call? What are the process to go through? Most schools don't have that. So what do we do as parents? We pick up the phone and we call and we say, when are we going to update our bullying policy and procedure? When are we going to have a sequence of consequences, or when are we going to have a sequence of intervention? But I got to be honest, it's tough. I mean, it's really tough. You know why? Because not one student can do it all by themselves. Not one parent can do it all by themselves. And not one school can do it all by themselves. It's a community event. It's a family affair. It's everybody coming together saying, we're all going to do our part. There is a process to develop our kids. There's a step-by-step manual to say, here's how I work with them. Here's how I encourage them. Here's how I get rid of the baggage from them. Here's how I get them to speak with confidence. Here's how I get them to believe in themselves. Here's how I do it. And so, although I can't be with every kid all across the country, finishing up developing this resource. It's actually an audio program. It's a 30-day program to do just that. And it's meant for some parents that go, I know pretty much, I need a little bit extra information of how to help my kid. And you know what? Don't think your kid's the only one you need to help, because they're also influenced with everybody else around them. So some of us needed some more tools to help other kids that are around us. But I wanted you to know that it's possible. It's possible. I want you to know I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate the commitment that you have to your kid. But I got a challenge for you. It's not just about your kid. Because not everybody has the parents your kids have. And there are other kids that need you. There are other kids that are going to need you to take them under their wing, to be a father to them, to be a mother to them, to show them, to teach them, to develop them. And so I leave you guys with that same challenge. To develop your child, to coach them, to work with them, to love them, to support them, so that they can be a positive influencer in every school that they ever go to, everybody that they ever see, everybody that they ever meet. Because I know you guys are the best parents, but our job is to raise the best kid so that they can go on and influence other people and do great things. So be a leader, take a stand, and Mojo up. My name is Travis Brown. You guys have a great night.